Once upon a time, at the Royal Burger Zoo in Aram, everyone was filled with worry. Mary, a 59-year-old chimpanzee matriarch, had stopped eating and drinking. Her health was getting worse every day, and the zoo staff were deeply troubled. Mary wasn't just any chimpanzee. She was a beloved leader of her group. Her sickness brought sadness to all who knew her. Despite the staff's tireless efforts and the help of skilled veterinarians, Mary's condition kept getting worse. The team was heartbroken, recalling how Mary had faced many challenges with courage throughout her life. It was difficult for them to accept that she might be nearing the end of her journey. They understood it was a natural part of life, but the thought of losing her was devastating. Mary had made a huge impact on science by helping with important research on primate behavior. Although she was born in the wild, poachers took her away when she was young. After being rescued and brought to the zoo, she became a vital part of a program dedicated to saving chimpanzees. Once at the zoo, Mary quickly adapted and showed amazing intelligence. She formed strong bonds with her fellow chimpanzees and the humans who cared for her. Her leadership and nurturing nature made her a key figure in the colony. Mary played a vital role in teaching young chimps how to survive and interact socially. Her special connection with Professor Lucas, a well-known primatologist, was particularly touching. Lucas met Mary in 1972 while setting up the chimpanzee colony. The bond between the young scientist and the charming chimpanzee was built on respect and affection. Lucas often visited Mary, spending long hours observing and communicating with her. As the years went by, Mary grew older. By 2016, at the age of 59, her health took a serious turn for the worse. She stopped eating and became so weak that she barely moved. The zoo staff were heartbroken, sensing that Mary's time was near. They informed Lucas, who had retired long ago. Hearing the sad news, Lucas felt a strong urge to see Mary one last time. Despite his own advanced age, he traveled to the zoo, not just as a scientist, but as a friend wanting to say a final goodbye. But before we delve deeper into the story, don't forget to subscribe to The Wild Wonder and give that like button a tap. Let's continue the story. When Lucas arrived, the staff welcomed him warmly and guided him to Mary's enclosure. There she lay, still and with her eyes shut. Her delicate condition was a far cry from the lively chimpanzee Lucas remembered. He gently called out her name, but she didn't respond. Not one to give up, Lucas began to hum a tune he used to sing during his visits. To his amazement, Mary's ears twitched and her eyes slowly opened. With great effort, she turned her head and looked at Lucas, her gaze showing a hint of recognition. Encouraged, Lucas sang a little louder and started talking to her about their past, reminiscing about their early days together, sharing funny moments, and highlighting their groundbreaking discoveries. His voice seemed to cut through her weakness, bringing a spark of life back into her. Mary weakly moved her hand. It was a small gesture, but Lucas noticed and gently held her hand. Mary managed to give his fingers a faint squeeze. This simple action spoke volumes about their deep bond and trust. The zoo staff watched in awe, seeing Mary, who had been unresponsive for days, now reacting to Lucas. A glimmer of hope began to shine among them. Lucas continued to talk to Mary, gently stroking her hand. He noticed she kept looking at a particular corner of the enclosure. Following her gaze, Lucas discovered a small pile of straw and leaves. As he carefully sifted through it, he found a hidden stash of food, pieces of fruit, nuts, and even primate cookies. It was clear that Mary had saved this food for later. Even in her weakened state, she had shown incredible foresight and a strong instinct for survival. Excited by this find, Lucas shared the discovery with the zoo staff. They quickly changed their care plan, beginning to offer Mary small portions of her favorite foods to help her regain strength and spark her appetite. Slowly but surely, Mary began eating a little at a time, and her condition started to improve. She became more active and seemed more interested in her surroundings. The other chimpanzees in the colony noticed these changes and became more attentive to Mary. Lucas visited her every day, spending long hours talking to her, humming familiar tunes, and simply being present. Their bond grew even stronger, and Mary responded to him with renewed energy and affection. One day, as Lucas sat next to Mary, he had a deep realization. Mary had been holding on to life and hiding her food, waiting for him to come back. She had used her last bit of strength for this moment. This insight moved Lucas deeply. He saw just how strong their bond was and how smart and emotional Mary was. Sharing this with the zoo staff gave them new hope and energy to keep working hard for Mary's recovery. Weeks went by and Mary started to improve. She began moving around more and interacting with the other chimpanzees. Her eyes regained their sparkle, and the zoo staff were thrilled. Lucas kept visiting her daily, and his presence seemed to make Mary even more active and engaged. They communicated in a special way, without words. Mary would often sit close to Lucas, holding his hand and listening to his stories. The story of Mary's miraculous recovery quickly spread across the scientific world. Researchers from all over came to the zoo to see the incredible chimpanzee and learn from her. Mary became a powerful symbol of the bond between humans and animals. The zoo set up a special program in her honor, where visitors could watch her and learn about her remarkable life and contributions. Many people were deeply moved by Mary and Lucas's story, which also sparked renewed interest in primate conservation and animal rights. Lucas wrote a book about his time with Mary, highlighting her amazing intelligence, emotional depth, and their true friendship. The book became a bestseller and inspired people to treat animals with more kindness and respect. Mary spent her last days surrounded by love and care, remaining a cherished figure at the zoo. When it was time for Mary to say goodbye, she did so peacefully, holding Lucas's hand and looking into his eyes with gratitude and affection. In honor of Mary, the zoo organized a heartfelt memorial, and tributes poured in from all over the world. Many people shared how Mary's story had deeply touched their lives, leading to numerous charitable donations made in her memory. Mary's legacy continues to inspire researchers, conservationists, and everyday people. The Royal Burger Zoo now features an educational center named after her, where visitors can learn about chimpanzee life and intelligence and support efforts to protect primates. Even in his old age, Lucas remains a passionate advocate for animal rights. He often talks about his experiences with Mary and encourages others to treat animals with kindness and respect. The story of Mary and Lucas is a powerful example of the deep connections that can exist between humans and animals. It reminds us of the respect and care every living being deserves and shows how love and friendship can cross even the boundaries between different species. That's all for today. Now, it's your turn to share your thoughts about this story. What's the next story you'd like to know? Let us know in the comment section below. And be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of these amazing videos on The Wild Wonder.